Hey guys, Miss Owen here with your video lesson on Black Power. We'll be covering a number of topics today, so let's jump on in. So the movement for Black Power was this movement for Black Americans to have some control over their own communities and really be free from and apart from white control. Some of the goals of the Black Power movement was to create Black self-reliance, meaning Black people would rely on themselves and other Black individuals, as well as Black-run organizations and businesses. It was also to establish self-defense from violence and have some pride in their race and history. It had nothing to do about integrating and fitting in with white America. Right, this is a contrast to what some of the earlier civil rights movement goals were, which was about bringing both white and Black races together. This was not that. This was about creating and investing in the Black community. These goals of the Black Power movement were controversial even among civil rights organizations. In fact, if we look at a group like SNCC, which we've talked about in previous videos, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, this civil rights organization made a decision in the early 70s to not allow white people to participate in their organization. This would be and became an all-Black movement. And this was controversial. Some people argued that there was a place for white individuals in the movement for civil rights, and eventually that led to SNCC losing a lot of members and no longer being a civil rights organization. The guy most associated with Black Power is a civil rights leader by the name of Malcolm X, who you may have heard before. He was a believer in using self-defense when faced with violence, meaning if you were attacked, you had the right to attack back. And this is a different approach to what earlier civil rights groups and leaders were saying about nonviolence. So that is not a goal of Malcolm X. He is not a proponent necessarily of nonviolent resistance. And because of this, because of his belief that when you get hit, you should strike back, he's often described as a militant, meaning a person who can be combative and sometimes aggressive when supporting a cause. Militant is a loaded word. It's to make you, the word makes you feel like it's a bad thing. But as the years go by, history has been a lot kinder to Malcolm X and the Black Power movement, and realizing that they had very important things to say, very reasonable things to say as well. Here's a quote from Malcolm X that highlights his belief in self-defense. It says, "Be peaceful, be courteous, obey the law, respect everyone, but if someone puts his hand on you, send him to the cemetery." It's a strong quote. He's not being subtle here. Don't be the aggressor, he's saying. Be peaceful, be nice, right? Don't do anything illegal, be respectful. But if you do all of those things and people are still violent, then you know what to do next. Like Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X was also assassinated or killed. He was gunned down actually in front of his wife and children while giving a speech in the year 1965. Malcolm X and the Black Power movement is often compared to Martin Luther King and the idea of nonviolent resistance. They are opposites in many ways. And in one of our assignments this week, we're going to look more deeply into how these two men and two ideas compare and contrast. A group that comes out of the Black Power movement are called the Black Panthers, or the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. And they were a group of people that believed in defending themselves. You can see that those individuals on your screen are holding guns, they're holding weapons openly. So self-defense was a big part of their movement, as well as providing services to the Black community. So if you've ever got free breakfast at school, you have the Black Panthers to thank. That was one of their big programs. Can we feed all of our children? And we don't have time to get into all of the leaders of the Black Panther Party, but there are a few names you should know and connect with Black Panthers, and that is Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale, and Stokely Carmichael. Let's look at this image. I'm going to have you write on Edpuzzle your answers and then we'll discuss. But we have an image on the screen. It connects with the Black Panther Party. And we're going to ask ourselves, what do you see and what does it mean? When I look at this image, a couple of things jump out to me. So first off, we have hands here. We have black hands here, placing a bandage on another black hand. And this is important because it relates back to what we know about the Black Panther Party, that Black individuals can help other Black people in their community. And our text supports this. People's community medics. A medic would be like a doctor, nurse, healthcare worker. And those people can come from, again, the community. So what do I see here? I see Black people helping each other. And what does that mean? It relates back to the Black Panther Party on the reliance that Black people can have on each other. The Black Panther Party puts together a 10-point plan, or the 10-point program, which addressed 10 of the major issues and problems that were affecting urban Black communities at the time. And they started off with number one, quite simply, we want freedom. We want the power to determine the destiny of our Black communities, meaning what happens to those communities. They want to have input on their own futures. Please keep reading the 10-point plan on your own. And on our next slide, I'm going to ask you to write what comparisons you see to the Black Lives Matter movement today. Do you see any comparisons from the Black Panthers 10-point program, which was written back in the 1970s, to what groups like Black Lives Matter are demanding of the world today? There's a very clear connection to point number 7 on the Black Panther Party's 10-point plan to what groups like Black Lives Matter are asking today, right? An immediate end to police brutality and the murder of Black people. That is still an issue here in 2020 and was certainly an issue back in the 70s. That's it for today's video, guys. I am going to ask you finish the video by writing a quick summary of what you just learned. I think 1 to 2 sentences of those key things from the video. That's going to help you remember this information in the days and weeks to come. Thanks for listening.